Hey everybody, welcome back to the Rainbow Six North American League desk. Joe and Jesse, Jacob, Joe here with you. And we're going to chat with Joe a little bit about what it's like to coach the Soniqs, being an analyst for Soniqs. But first, let's go back to an interview that we were able to do with Goddess, current head coach of the Soniqs, a little bit ago, and see what she had to say about what it's like to take on that role in the organization.
Goddess and I have been together for 4 years now. She understands things that I need or things that I expect of a coach.
I think in the 4 years that I played competitive, I think I had over like 12,000 hours. Now that I have the head coach role, when it comes to like actually scrimming and practicing and coming up with strats, I have more of like a hands-on role with that.
She's able to give player criticism a lot better because she was once that player in that position.
Her main duty is to kind of keep people calm, make sure we're focused, and just keep everybody on track and on course.
This is a team that had a lot of hype around them coming into stage one. Why wouldn't they? They won the NAL last year, had a really awful stage one, if we're honest with ourselves, right? But started to look pretty good towards the end of it. I chatted with Goddess a little bit. She said, and I agree with her here, that they were working out some of those wrinkles at the end of the stage. They did start to look a little bit better in their last two games, I think specifically. Yep. But one of the things that helped them a lot, according to her, was they actually were able to scrim against a bunch of the international teams that were here in the U.S. for the majors. So that variety of experience, she said, really helped them kind of iron more things out and come into things quite more fresh for stage two.
At the end of the day, we're top 6 team in the world. We're the champions of the league, and we're not going to stop trying to get better.
Well, there you go. So I chatted with Goddess. We saw the results in stage one. Obviously, she's in the head coach role, but Super still has a big impact on the strategy for the team. You've got the analytical side of things covered, but you used to have that head coach role. So what's it been like to make that transition from head coach to analyst, and kind of, what is the day-to-day for you now?
Yeah, so now I have a full team of just data analysts and developers, so I have 2 and 2 of each. So shout out to Mackenzie, Emily, Jordan, and Jason. Thank you for joining our team. And they're doing a great job right now of just helping me on the data analyst side absorb all the rainbow stats for everything, because there's so many games, so many leagues to take track of. So now, thankfully, I don't have to do everything anymore, because that was a lot. But now I also have our 2 developers working with us to learn other game APIs that are provided, so we can hook into those and then use that data to help our other teams be able to perform at the same level that I was able to help the roster perform at last year for Rainbow.
You have so many people who work with you behind the scenes on stuff like this, which is great, because we've seen historically that teams that have big support staffs usually go on to find success, TSM, SSG in the past. But does that necessarily mean that you need to have a really big support staff backing up a team in order for them to do really well? Or is it just the kind of advantage that you're kind of hoping to bring to the Soniqs over time?
Yeah, so I think what's unique about our position now is that I am in charge of all our teams. So we're doing PUBG, we're doing Rocket League, we're doing Valorant, we're doing Rainbow as well.
Right.
So all of those games mean that you need more heads in the kitchen to be able to support those titles, because I couldn't do it all myself. But that, to your point, I supported Rainbow analytically by myself the entire time up until this point.
Right, it was just you.
It was just me doing the data analyst stuff. So it is very possible to do all of that, and everything that I did was rather like in depth. You don't need to do all of that. You definitely learn more as you go. And so just being able to start, I think, is the most important thing. Get yourself going to do data if you want to go that way, and be able to grow into that role just like I did. It's just comes naturally, I feel like.
Interesting. All right. A natural mind for data and numbers. That is the opposite of my brain. So that's always interesting to hear about for sure. But it all comes to a head right now, right? Because we've got Soniqs versus Spacestation Gaming. Now, Spacestation has been struggling a little bit. Soniqs has been on the uptick. And obviously, you're going to pick Soniqs when we get to the predictions. You might surprise us. I doubt it. But, but in terms of how Soniqs got there, what do you think it is about stage 2 that's making it happen?
I think one of the most important things and takeaways from stage 1 is, like, when you have a stage that's that disappointing, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
Everybody feels it, everybody knows it. So you have to be able to look at it, diagnose exactly what you think went wrong, and then understand it, and then be able to build on it and improve. And so being able to have that conversation, when I was working with the guys, like, we could always have that round table discussion and be able to be like, we know we're hitting the mark here. We know we're missing the mark here, so let's like figure out how we can get that mark back online. I think that's really important. I think this stage they came back. They're being more flexible on attack for sure, and they're really starting to like hone in on those previous mistakes to fix the issues.
Definitely are.
I think we've also seen some like changes we've seen on the role side as well. Like, we've seen Super get a lot more aggressive on defense. He's talked on stream about, moving cans into more of a clutch position, more of those kind of anchor operators so that he can do that. And I think Super's actually had like a pretty solid time playing those offsite positions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the role changes are really important there because I have a way of breaking down operators to see strengths and weaknesses, and I can break it down by player as well. So when we're looking at that kind of thing, we look to, Seth and I look at to see like which operators are players performing on, which operators are similar styles of players performing on, and how can we get our players onto these roles so that they can perform to the best of their effort. Because there always are players that like maybe are on the wrong thing and maybe underperforming in that regard. So if you're flexible and able to move them onto a new operator, do you give them more opportunities to be comfortable and maybe find the impact that they couldn't on another operator?
Was it a big deal to move Super to something that wasn't just like crazy anchor play like we've historically known him for playing, or was it kind of an easy switch?
I don't know. I think it would be easy. It gets Rexen off of Jaeger. So I know he hates that gun.
He hates it? Okay. Yeah,
so I mean, if you're putting Rexen on like something like Wamai instead of the Jaeger, you now have a accomplished fragger who's now got the 1.5 and can take those long range engagements and hit those heads rather than playing Jaeger and just having to manage the bounciness of the gun.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, another big part of Soniqs has been Grixer this stage. He's really kind of stepped up. We're going to take a look at some of his stats because out of players on Soniqs, like he's definitely been making one of the major impacts, hasn't he?
Yeah, I don't think that Grixer has had the flashiest of stats, but I still think that he deserves a highlight. I thought that last game that Soniqs played, especially on Bank when they were playing against Oxygen, was really, really impressive for me on the stuff that Grixer was getting done. He didn't get a crazy amount of kills. He was positive, but it wasn't by a much. But every kill that Grixer was getting ended up being highly impactful. We'll see if we can roll through some of these rounds and catch the moments that Grixer was able to have the impact. This is the first round that he did, round number 3, being able to get a ton of kills in this round, and watch how he focuses the planter. This is the first time he does it, takes down Dream as he's getting the kit, and he just chills in this spot. He knows how powerful this position he's in, especially with the diffuse kit right next to him on the other side of those walls. He's doing a fantastic job. Once again, kills the planter. Twice focusing down on an important player. Here it happens again. Watch Grixer and watch Fox going for the plant. Now, Grixer is not going to get any kills through this round, but he downs Fox. That's what's important. He's able to make that play, have the impact, and even though it's not showing up the stat sheet, he's still impacting. Then one more round as well. This is going to be round number 8, and the way that he's able to get up the plant here and have an impact is crazy. Obviously, it wasn't an advantage for Soniqs. It starts going pretty bad for them. Rexen's in Garage, able to call some movements for Grixer, but Grixer's got to step up, get that kit on the ground, and it's so fast to be able to stand up, take down Fox, and the long angle as well on the vertical. So good from Grixer, and he only got 8 kills throughout that last game, but that highlight package covered 6 of them.
I was going to say, he's really good at basement. That's about it.
Well, okay, listen, the kills he was getting were massively impactful, and I really did think he had a lot of plays that impacted that last match, despite not showing up huge on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and this team in general coming off of some pretty big wins, right? They did take down Oxygen their last series. It was a win against Dark Zero before that. So not just getting wins, but getting, I would say, significant wins compared to kind of the results from last stage. Like if you want Soniqs to come back, these are the kind of wins you want to see this team getting to, because these haven't been overtime wins as well. These have been wins in regulation. They've been convincing. A lot of people saying Soniqs are back. I would imagine you would, Joe Bro, but Jacob, what were you going to say there?
I mean, I look at this Soniqs team now, and even in those first 2 losses that they had in the first week, it was still overtime or they go all the way to 12 rounds. They're still keeping games close, which I think is the epitome of this team. Even if for some reason it doesn't work out in the moment, they still have the ability to keep these games exceptionally down to the wire, and that is like the proof that they have the improvement and they understand where they're meant to be moving from stages 1 to 2. It does unfortunately, acknowledge that stage 1 was a write-off. And I hate saying that because I never want to think that a team goes into a stage and doesn't expect to do anything with it. But now you look at where they're at, and it's never been a bad performance. It's been 1 or 2 slip-ups on the games that they've lost because of how close those rounds have been. And then suddenly, 7-3 over Dark Zero, 7-4 over OXG. That exact same thing can continue into today, especially given how guys like Kansan, like Yeti, like Grixer have been playing. And their defensive shift was enough to make all of their opponents reconsider how they're meant to be playing around Super, going off and playing those, as he called it, death spots. So it's nice that we're seeing this kind of adaptation. It means stage 1 didn't matter for much, but stage 2 is looking way better right now.
And I think for us especially, like, we have a style that's played where we're communicating a lot, and so when the vibes are up and the communication's there, that's when you're going to see us be able to problem solve on the fly, whereas in the first week maybe that wasn't there as much. In stage 1 it definitely wasn't, but it's there now.
As we take our final looks at Soniqs before we move over and talk about Spacestation Gaming, it's interesting to see where Spacestation is in relation to Soniqs here, because Spacestation has been a team that's been okay, but certainly been struggling a little bit. They just came off of a win over Mirage, but it was a 7-5 win. It nearly went to overtime, and yeah, we did see Mirage at full strength for the first time this stage in that match, but for a team like Spacestation, you don't want to be playing close ones against the worst team in the league right now.
Yeah, it was a rough game on Border for Spacestation against Mirage. I felt like teamwork was kind of struggling on defense for them. A couple of times the roamers were just isolated, and I love Hot and Cold. When he's being cleared by 3 players and there's no help, he's going to die. So those were just kind of the positions that we saw Spacestation playing on Border, and sometimes that has to happen. We saw Skies, for example, have an extended position, and he also died when he should have had that cover. So it's not even always that they're so far away from the bomb site, but the fact that they're not able to play together a little bit more to make sure that those kills at least get traded, I think was a problem for Spacestation in that last time, or in that last game. And then you go back to their Beast Coast match as well, and Beast Coast were doing very similar thing, right? Ignoring that utility and just kind of walking towards Spacestation. Often Sweater was that highlight player, but I thought Drip did it, I thought Surf did it, I thought Slash did it, even if he only did it on Blitz. You know, these were the rounds that Beast Coast were just walking through at Spacestation, not really challenging that utility, taking those fights. And I think for SSG, they need to find a way to force their opponents to challenge their utility, to throw some nades at them, to try to clear them out. Because if SSG are just getting walked at and they're not swinging and be able to get those trades, then they're losing these rounds, and it's not been great for them on defense.
That's kind of the primary issue I have with Spacestation at the minute, is not taking that same aggressive playstyle that seems to be the entirety of the meta at the minute. And this might sound brutal, and I don't want it to be. I'm a huge Spacestation fan. These 5 guys I have immense respect for, and I love the org. Remember back when Spacestation in like mid-2018, 2019 was just kind of there, a middling team in NA Pro League that didn't really feel like it had much to work with, in spite of having new talent. Suddenly they're back there, but they have, since that time, an SI win under their belt, considerably more LAN experience, and yet somehow it feels that they're always falling short of the marker. In this case, they're not even able to get to the LANs that we've always known them to get to, and not qualifying for Charlotte was probably the really big instance of that. I don't want this trend to keep slipping downward for Spacestation. It just has been. It sucks seeing them in this position. Granted, a 6 points still means that they're in the hunt for the Berlin Major, but if they don't qualify again, you gotta wonder what the weak link is. Do you swap a different entry player out? Do you add new blood into a team that has plenty of veterans on it? What do you do if you're the Spacestation team? It hurts to see them here right now.
Yeah, definitely some mystery, some working out that needs to be done yet. Strategically, maybe role swapping it out as well. But let's find out where we're going to see the map get played today. The bans are in, so it's going to be time to find out. We're not going to Cafe, we're not going to Chalet.
Okay, yeah, so Cafe and Chalet. Cafe is obviously Soniqs permaban. They hit it every time. Looking at Chalet as well, so that's up there in terms of bans for SSG, very common. I would also expect to see a Oregon or a Sky ban from SSG. We have a theme park from Soniqs, which is also one of their permabans right now. And then Oregon from SSG. They played it earlier in the stage, didn't get the result they wanted, so they're back to permabanning it. So let's see what else we got here. Soniqs banned Clubhouse, interesting. And then SSG bans Bank, that makes sense to me. But Clubhouse is interesting because both of these teams prioritize playing Club and would want to, but not on the board this time around.
Nah, dude, when you look at this and you still take this against SSG, they have yet to ban at this stage. They are hungry to go back to this map. But honestly, I think against the Soniqs, that probably would have been a bit of a tougher fight. So maybe they're relieved. They don't have to worry about it. No Bank, no Skyscraper, no Villa. Back to Border again. I actually like this one a lot. For the Soniqs, there is a willingness to go here. There is something in the water about Border, at least as far as they're concerned. As far in stage 1, I do remember they've played this twice. They actually have yet to win it since its reintroduction into the map pool. And for Space Station, they've also had several attempts on it. That 7-5 against Astralis keeps rearing its ugly head. But I do think this will be a far closer game, especially if Soniqs have picked things up, so to speak.
7-5 against Mirage. That was a worrying one, I think, for Space Station. But still, interesting final couple of bans as well. A little bit shocking, Soniqs go for the Skyscraper ban because that's one SSG have never played at all. Don't know if it's like a bluff for them. They have let it get through a couple times before, so I think Space Station probably would have been willing to go there.
Still wasn't impressed with how SQ played Skyscraper, to be fair.
I mean, yeah, SQ are going for a map that they know their opponents on rather than one they've never seen.
True enough. Well, it's time to make some predictions. It's time to decide, or who are you going to pick? Who's going to win it? We know one of them already, but we don't know what our casters are going to say. Let's send it over to Pengu and Intero, find out. Who do you think it's going to be? Do you think it's going to be Soniqs? Are you intimidated by Joe Bro being in the studio today?
It's kind of awkward now.
Intimidated by how good he looks. Maybe that's about it.
True.
How can you be intimidated by somebody this short? Come on, man.
Oh, that's
a low blow.
That's harsh. Oh.
Everyone's shorter than me, dude.
What is happening?
This is like an MMA face-off. What's going to happen here?
I mean, what he makes
now
up, what he lacks in height, he makes up for in being impeccably well dressed. And even then, he's not even short. You're just a giant. So.
What do you want from me? Everyone's short to me.
Honestly, this is a tough one for me. Very similar to what we saw at DZ and Astralis. I mean, I think on paper, Soniqs should be the better team. Now that we know that it's Border, SSG has played Border twice already so far this stage, and they are 2-0 on it. So part of me wants to give the nod to Space Station, but I also I don't have faith in Space Station as a team. I just don't.
That's bad.
I do not have faith. There are so many games and so many situations where Space Station are just in control, and then they just blow up. So I don't know. I'm going to say, I'm going to go on a limb here. I literally don't have any idea. I'm just going to say Soniqs because Joe is here and I don't want to get beaten up afterwards. But I think
wait for you in the parking lot.
Just like DZ Astralis, I think it's going to be close.
All right, so I'm going to need a protection detail here because we're going to Border, which is much like Coastline back when Coastline was in the map pool. It's aggressive, it's about the gunplay, and Super doesn't shoot back that hard, right? So I'm thinking 5v4 versus 4v5, and I feel like SSG, they can shoot harder. It's a Border where you got to shoot. We saw Charlie do that against Darkseer to great effect, where Canadian wasn't shooting that hard either. So I'm sorry, Joe Bro, but I'm with SSG on this one.
All right, well, casters divided. Bold move.
A cast divided cannot stand.
That's right. But you don't need to. You're sitting.
You're sitting.
We are sitting.
Fine, yeah. Everything's fine. We're going to check back with you in a moment as the map gets started. Time to find out what our analysts and our guest analysts have to say. Joe Bro, let's just go to you first.
Okay, sure. Maybe. So I'm actually going to subvert some expectations here and go with SQ. Sorry. So one of the things I really want to point out is that the performance of Yeti between weeks Playdays 1 and 2 versus now, or Playdays 3 and 4. So I believe it was after the TSM game, he tweeted something about not being able to shoot back. Well, he was shooting back last week. Last week he was 2 and 2 for opening kills, opening deaths. He was 0 and 7 the first week. So that was an improvement there. And his kill participation went up from 29 and 38% from attack defense to 56 and 50%. So he's getting a kill and at least one kill in the round.
So it's still a coin flip.
Right, but kill participation isn't actually as high as you would think, but it's much better than 28 and 38%. Right. So he's actually impacting these rounds a lot more, and they won both games last week.
True.
So if he's able to still have that kill participation this week and really help his team by just getting at least one, I think they have a chance here.
So he paid you to give him that promo, right?
Well,
and to sell him like that?
Well, technically, Super's dad pays me, so...
okay.
Understood.
Yeah. Fair enough. Say no more. Jacob, who do you got for this one?
Super's 12 and doesn't have his own savings account, so he has to have his dad to do it. I mean, I still will take the Soniqs. I'm not very impressed with SSG's Border play. I feel like if you let the worst team in the league take you all the way to 7-5, and even that initial Border win was still an online one, so it wasn't even that impressive to begin with, I look at the Space Station team as having a little bit too many cracks to fill, and I feel like this Soniqs team can still be disruptive on defense because they are considerably better at both attack and defense statistically in the rankings than SSG are on both sides of the ball. I'll take Soniqs just from a stats point of view.
All right, so Soniqs by the stats. Jesse, what do you got to say?
I'm looking for a way to pick Space Station, but I just don't think I see it. I think Soniqs have been a better team so far this stage. SSG have just been really, really shaky. And yeah, SQ, I like a lot of their players so far this stage. I think Super's playing better. I think Grixer's playing well. I think Rexon's playing better. I think Yeti's playing better. Who did I miss? Kansas is like popping off like crazy, you know?
Yeah,
so I don't know.
Clutch God. Yes.
He is indeed.
Top-rated player.
So yeah, SQ.
All right, well, let's see what the coin has to say. It's going to be heads. Soniqs is going to be tails. Space Station Gaming, we'll give it the good old flip. And it is, tails.
All right.
The coin, unafraid. Space Station Gaming is the pick. Doesn't matter. The numbers don't affect the force of randomness. Let's see what the fan vote was. I've been told it's very close. I'm going to be told the exact number here.
Wow.
Fans.
Okay.
What's the number?
Whoa, it was 50.2 SSG.
Wow. Okay.
What the heck?
49.8 Soniqs.
This is a hard one to call.
It is a hard one to call, yeah, but the fan vote just barely going.
We only
in Space
introduced the
Station's
fan
favor.
vote for this stage, and already we have one that's that close. We can only
I
get
like
a 50.1 to a 49.9 to be even tighter than that.
I like it.
We've had this for 3 weeks. You people are crazy.
It's great. I love the participation. People are figuring it out. You know, they're getting into it a little bit, which is what we need. We need to challenge ourselves, right? Challenge the casters, challenge you guys. Not me. I just flip a coin. I like it that way. Let's check out the community poll. What question are we going to mull over going into this next one? It's going to be, who will get more kills, players with or without the superstar? Ooh. There you go. We should have like a
There it
disclaimer,
is.
like,
Ooh.
stream
There it
not
is.
actually
So what you're
sponsor
saying is
question.
if they don't equip that to every gun, then the question actually has merit. But, oh boy.
I don't know why you wouldn't have it equipped to every gun. Look at this piece of beauty.
That's true.
There you go. A piece of beauty indeed. Well, don't go anywhere. When we come back, we will see if Soniqs can keep the momentum going, win, I believe it would be their 3rd in a row, or if Space Station Gaming can get a little bit back on track here. The Rainbow Six North American League returns in just a few.
When I tell a peace, love is love. Love is love. Adios. Bendo with the switch again. Boy deliver like he heffing. Core with digits, give them estimates. Somersaults for my Benjamins. I got what you need, baby. Skirt the Chevy, make a scene, baby. LABB been the team, baby. Bim Papa, word the G, baby. Look, labs till I'm finished. Had a handful of lemons through the hand. Got a bag, now the hands in the business. For my hand, it's a ticket. Talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I've been playing with the minutes that they been shoulda gave. And I'm flipping every digit that they been shoulda paid. Had to find a way to get it. No, this isn't what you made. If I ever wanna dip, then I'm brink with the blade. And I'm brinking a blink on the brink of some dumb shit. Watch how I move, cause I know the brink's coming. Watch for the blues, cause I know that they dumping. Nothing in my view, so it's hush on discussion. Hush on discussions, you know what you need to. I keep it in the fam to let you know that I don't need you. Y'all cats be see-through, heading out to peace. You been king, I'm regal, got it in my Abisu. Came through tripping Aquafina, I'm sipping 15, kept a weapon on me. Flow make digits, I'm on my business. Stack chicken like what it's gon' be. Crew in the cut, hey, you want us red run when I tell her peace. Love is love. Love is love. Hold up with it, got my back on Pippin. I'm back in kitchens with the tray. Windows tinted like how black my skin is. Scoop the shorty in it from a J. Swish, she got vision just like any women giving me the kitten. Way before the riches, nothing more to mention. I could light a block of powder or a glisten foreign on my body.
I'm Yeti, and this is the NAL.
I never tire of how funky that is. I hear it and I love it. I just want to dance. And you were dancing.
I was liking it too.
You didn't need to like stop yourself for when the camera came back on.
I felt like I did though, because it's one of those like, you know?
You did not.
Can't drink on the job, which means dancing becomes awkward.
Welcome to the broadcast. I'm Intera. This is Pengu. We're about to jump into Space Station versus Soniqs. It's the two teams that start with S. Very different looks though. Soniqs have had a pretty good couple days. They're on a 2-game winning streak. Soniqs are on a 1-game winning streak. Both teams having similar results. Space Station enters in 6th. Soniqs enter in 4th. and it's the hunt for that fabled spot to go to the Berlin Major.
Across the pond.
That's correct.
And we're slowly kind of creeping in, like, you know, the last and couple final playlists, like we're in the middle right now, of course, and this is a very defining moment because, you know, with the league being so close, one win or one loss can really start turning the tide for major or no major. And as we all know, the literal reason why these teams are in this league is to get top 4, to go to the major, to get that international experience and a shot at getting a title and a trophy. So every single team wants to win so badly. We see them getting amped up. We're getting in the server. It's Border once again. We had Villa earlier. We got Border now. Well, to see who comes out the victor. But first, of course, we got to break down the operator bans that will be coming on your screen in just a second.
So far this stage, Spacestation have come to this map twice. Soniqs have yet to play Border, so they will be, this will be their first time doing it.
Oh.
Soniqs will ban out Lion. They don't want to deal with that. Lion and Ying are two operators that are very oppressive to deal with on defense. Spacestation, unsurprisingly, likes bringing both of them. When Spacestation played on this map against both Dark Zero and then last week against Mirage, they banned the same attacker both times, Thatcher. On defense, they banned Mira, and then they banned Valk. This time, they're going to ban Azami. So that's a third time that they have banned a different operator on defense. It's anybody's guess as to what Soniqs will remove. Could be a Kaid, could be a Mira, but they're taking their sweet time. What do you think? Who do you predict?
Valkyrie?
It was already on the screen when you said it.
I know, but you asked me so late. I mean, what was this to do?
I don't know. You could have just jumped in at some point and been like, you know what my job as a color commentator is? My job is to predict these things and to couch my analysis in statistics. And that statistical analysis is exactly why they pay you the big bucks. That's correct.
Wait, you're getting paid for this? I thought we were just kind of hanging out. You're...
No.
No?
No.
Good. Okay, I thought I was getting trolled there for a second. No, I was being here for the vibes of you guys, make some friends and whatnot. Of course, to watch some Rainbow Six Siege every single week because...
Nobody believes you.
Fine, whatever.
Nobody believes you.
I too get paid, whatever.
Of course, it's a job. Very first bomb site on the defense for Soniqs. We'll be upstairs on that armory bomb site that we talk about every single time that this map comes up. It is the most played bomb site, but Border's actually really close. And I say that because not including the stats from the matchup that just occurred. If you didn't tune into Dark Zero versus Astralis, they came here to Border. Excluding those stats, the bomb site rotations, 9 plays for Archives and Armory, 6 plays for Ventilation Workshop, and 6 plays for Teller's Bathrooms. And it was a pretty even spread between those 3 bomb sites. In the DZ Astralis match, Customs showed up 1 time, and it was the first time that it showed up here in North America. One thing to note about this bomb site is that while Border is defender-sided in North America, this bomb site is not. It is the only bomb site, minus Customs, that has a positive win rate for the attackers.
Yet it's the favored one for most teams, so whether that's...
Curious.
Yeah, curious, right? Is that a comfort thing? Is people not like reading to the stats too much? Of course, just your own confidence in how you can play a certain bomb site. We'll see now how Soniqs will do and how they'll fare. They got a pretty standard lineup here, nothing quite out of the ordinary. They got information, they got wall deny, they got verticality, of course. They got protection from those nades, as both the Waman Jaeger is in play. From SSG, they like bringing that flexibility. That's why they're lying a target band on them. No Ying right now. They got the Nomad for the map control. They got verticality. They got soft destruction, which is a single heartbreach on faults on this ace operator.
It's an interesting setup that we see from Soniqs right now, holding 90, very different from other Borders that we've seen, and just like that, they're quick to the punch on Spacestation side of things. Rampy walks in, down goes Yeti. No way to hold that 90 panel, so all of that effort from Soniqs, all for naught, but for now, Rexon is still there, and he has a long range of sight with the DMR in hand, but gets spotted by a drone and knows that that might be it for him. Backing his way into office, and Fountain will likely be where he sits unless Soniqs are confident in holding office.
We can see just how important that 90 position was, because the moment Yeti fell, the other 2 members of Grixer and Rexon immediately fell off their positions and played more passive, because now that middle link that puts everything together is completely gone. The only upside right now for Soniqs is that they have east stairs control still, which means they have some sort of map presence. But SSG, they can just start hitting down these walls onto the bomb site, start breaching it up, and start setting up for that execute phase of planting. With hot and cold on Nomad, their flank should be pretty well covered.
Kansan needs to be worried about both the left and the right, as he can be pushed from the metal detector at the top of the stairs, but is now under fire from the opening that's been created from the hard breach onto the armory wall. And down he goes to Fultz. It's Grixer in the line of sight, but there's a nade from below to take him out, and SSG burst into the bomb site. Yeah, Fultz is downed, but you've got diffuser control, you've got site control, and you're good to start to get that plant down. But Bosco has other ideas. In the middle of getting the diffuser down, it's a kill on the Skies that had happened just a second earlier, and Soniqs will need to bail themselves out of this situation. Super and Rexen working in tandem, but Super shut down by Hot and Cold. It's very nearly a team ace. All it's going to take is Bosco to get a kill, and then you're as close as you're going to get. Twitchiness of Rexen over towards 90. It's got information on the Nomad, but it's Hot and Cold to secure the final 2 kills and give Spacestation the very first round.
What about Kid Skies? He didn't have a kill. He's dead.
Kid Skies did not, but he was dead.
So he doesn't count? He's not a part of the team? You said team ace.
No, I said very nearly a team ace if they get that kill, because then Skies would be the only person who doesn't have a team kill, which is as near to a team ace as you're going to get.
Sure.
I said nearly a team ace if he gets the kill, which means that they would have 4 players with kills. Everything I said was correct. Check the record.
Sure, yeah.
Check the record. Check the record.
I'm going to get production on the phone
Wheel
right
it
now.
up. Wheel it up. You're going to get Dark Zero on the phone? You should tell him to win their matches.
Come on, that's not what I said. I said production, not get the phone, Parker. You behave.
I heard Dark Zero. I heard you say I'm going to get Dark Zero on the phone.
I
was
swear
like,
I said production. I
odd
swear.
that you would call Dark Zero right now.
Well, yo, Troy, why'd you lose today, buddy? He's like, I'm sorry, Nick. I'm like, it's okay. I'll forgive you, buddy. Next week, we'll get a dub.
He did tweet that it was a bad day for him. GG's on to TSM tomorrow, is what he said.
Yeah, but...
keeping that positive spirit.
But are they going to beat TSM?
It's like if Troy were to get a tattoo on his body, he would definitely get Live, Laugh, Love somewhere.
Or just get, woo! Just like a dub and a bunch of O's.
It could be. The same way that it's, on the R4C skin. The Evil Geniuses R4C skin.
Does it say woo?
He actually left the org before the skin came out, which is the best part of it all, is that his woo was like iconic for that team, and then it's like they announce and unveil the R4C skin with woo on it, and Troy's already on Space Station. Oh well, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Production delays,
Life goes fast,
Absolutely. Round number 2. Speaking of going fast, we're through the prep phase and now 30 seconds into action. It's a workshop ventilation defense for Soniqs. Can't go back to Armory because they won it. Or rather, they lost it. They could have gone back to Armory, but instead opting otherwise to go downstairs to the bomb site. That is actually the most defender-sided of all the bomb sites, as we talked about before.
Yep, ventilation it is. And I mean, in that first round, we saw SSG get the opening kill, the plant, and the round, so that everything really going for them. That first opening kill happened at about this time, about the 1 minute 50-ish time into the rounds. We'll see if Rexen falls, or if he can stay alive. Nomad being brought once again because SSG, they want more guns looking forward in that aggressive direction, with the air jabs taking care of the flank duty, limiting Soniqs' capabilities of moving around the map, which of course, when you're playing the Oryx, that can be quite beneficial as an attacker to ensure that the flank doesn't go through. Rexen feels too under pressure. He shot a few drones, drops down that hatch and falls back, now giving SSG what they wanted in that office area. But there's more map they gotta clear. We got Kansan inside of Armory, holding down this area, and you can't really do any vertical control damage on towards the bomb site unless you clear out Armory as well, so it's gonna be a full sweep from SSG.
And they sweep in correctly. Hot and Cold picks up kill number 3 in a row as he'd gotten the final 2 exit kills, and now Rampy will break that streak. Soniqs falling apart, but Kansan gets one of his own. Adding to it is a team kill from SSG. I don't know what Skies was doing, but a bit of friendly fire weakens the numbers, and when it comes to a game like this, how close it can be, it's particularly dire. Hot and Cold down 2, so Soniqs now with the advantage because of the assist from Space Station. Not great.
Bit unfortunate. Of course, these things happen, and when you got 4 players inside the same area on the map, you can get huddled up really quickly. You're moving around, shooting people, navigating ground, vertical damage, and it comes out. It's not cooked long enough, so enemy runs away. That is the smoke of Super running for his life, staying alive. He has 3 toxic babes left. The first one goes out. 30 seconds left, and SSG, it's Bosco and Sky's got to clutch it up now for their team.
If there were 2 players on this team with that clutch factor, though, it's got to be both of them, as we've talked about before, how many times Bosco has clutched out. But Soniqs have two good players of their own. Super cannon fodder for Skies. Ground down to a pulp, and it's back to a 2v2. Not a lot of time left. Kansan under fire. Sidearm out, and he gets dusted off by Bosco, who's in the middle of the bomb site. Grixer needs to retake. He's so close, and he sees him shutting him down. Suddenly, Skies needs to drop, but it'll be a game of keep away as Grixer wisely just plays time and gives his team the win. All tied up at 1 apiece.
That's a tough one because Grixer rotated off the bomb site all the way back into customs in blue, and when SSG found that member beneath the bomb site itself from the hatch angle, they did not expect a second player to be creeping around, so they gambled the 50-50 on where he might be. They gambled wrong, and therefore they got punished. It was Grixer finding a free kill as both of their backs were turned, then he ran for the hills because time was on his side. It's tied up 1 round apiece now for both of these teams, and we're going to be going towards that bathroom bomb site instead. So already 3 rounds, 3 different bomb sites, but a very similar lineup for the attacking side of SSG. They feel like this is what they want to bring because it's quite flexible, right? You got vertical self-destruction, you got grenades, you got hard breach, and you got flank watch. You don't really need to go, outside of that comfort zone unless you really want to. They are bringing both the Ace and the Thermite now, which arguably is a little bit overkill unless you want to really hit multiple walls. So they do have a bit of flexibility that they could go on to. For example, the Jackal from Force in that last 7 seconds to help alleviate the issue of the roam clear. I think this makes sense, seeing as Soniqs, they are extending up above, and we can see they're very aggressive operators. They got Melusi, the Alibi, and the Muzzy all going to be in their faces, trying to challenge them at every single angle. And something that we spoke about on the desk with Jobro as well, is that Super has changed up his position in his team, now playing in those tough spots where you might find yourself just like dying more often than not on the Jaeger of all operators. And while he might not get the most kills, he plays that position, he might fall early, then he gets to lead his team from the grave, holding cameras and organizing who goes where. So losing super early is almost a good thing in this case because he's the leader.
Well, he's been one of the last ones alive for his team through those 2 rounds, though. So.
The first 2.
The first 2.
Watch him die first this one.
Well, I mean, you might be willing it into existence, Nick, but we'll
very
see about
front
that
forward position in these stairs. It's a first point of contact if SSG comes to that area of the map.
Grixer's got backup, knowing a drone is coming in towards the front door. Might want to get on out at some point. Nook being a favorite operator for Spacestation 2. Got some explosive potential. And with Zofia as well to boot. Focus on Armory at the moment with a minute off of the clock. That's where Spacestation is stacked up. Diffuser will be walked in by Bosco, but it's miles away from the bomb site on the other side of the building. It's a bathroom teller's defense on that bottom floor. SSG have taken some of the top floor, and as you talked about, Super being the first one in point of contact, well, guess what? He's holding the top of the stairs in a position where Hot and Cold could easily spy him, but some castle barricades will keep him safe for the time being.
For the time being so far, and I mean, it's going to slow down SSG, but if they want to strike, they can. They still want to get this last piece of information. Only 5 drones to go. It's limited. Angled opened up. Stun comes through. Confirms that Super's whereabouts are, in fact, on the east stairs area. But as long as Super just talks behind his half wall, they can't really do much about his position right now.
There's a lot of gunfire being used, but not a lot of it is finding its mark. Yeti's bogged down inside of office, about to be pushed by one of the players from Space Station. If they've droned him out and there's an explosion on the wall, that Yeti knows someone is nearby. Now through the soft wall, it's Rampy opening up a line of sight. They don't have much intel.
Nope.
In terms of drones, there's 3 active drones for Space Station. Make that 4. One of those concussive blasts goes off, gives Yeti's position away, and he's done for. Bosco collapses on him. Super heads for the hills on east stairs, taking some damage in the process. Open bomb site down below. They spot it. Rexon had been damaged too, and now he's as good as gone. That leaves 30 seconds for Space Station in a 5v3 to pounce on the remaining players of Soniqs. But where are they? That's the real question. Again, intel could potentially be the issue for Space Station. They've killed now 10 seconds, but Kansan gets shot from an angle he doesn't suspect. Space Station just destroying Soniqs at this point. And the last one alive is Super, but he gets a kill, an exit frag onto Hot and Cold, and now he himself will exit through the customs door. Passport towards lobby, firing away at the soft wall. He's got a lot of bullets, why not? Aha, funny number. 69 bullets were left in the mag, by the way, as he's taken out by Space Station after the diffuser goes down. That was a formality, though, as there were still 4 players from SSG up. Hard to imagine that going through that passport door into the lobby for Super would have paid any dividends. That round was over the moment that 3 of the 5 players for Soniqs were down, and the diffuser got planted shortly thereafter. That's on the road to Space Station, regaining the lead.
And we'll say that SSG is looking very good. I mean, they've gotten all 3 opening kills, and sure, Soniqs, they got the 1 round of ventilation defense, but it came down to Grixer with the clutch, and SSG just having, not enough time to really take enough time to find a safe plant position. So it really has been a dominant SSG so far, and we got the question now, who will get more kills, players with or without Super's charm? And I've seen multiple, if not all of SSG's players with the Super charm, so I guess that the only obvious answer here is people with the Super charm will get more kills, because the NAL is just a bunch of good lads. They're helping each other out, repping the charm that is new to the NAL, that is Super's. It's very kind of them. And Super himself on social media has been making a lot of jokes and memes and fun about whenever somebody does well, it's the Super charm, it's not the player. So keep our eyes on that as we keep going. SSG now actually starting to use their attacker repick capabilities. They are back onto the Nomad, they got the Flores, and they got the Hibana. So they've actually been using all 3 different heartbeats now of Ace, Hibana, and the Thermite. Now they bring different things with different bomb sites. When you're going upstairs in Armory, it's safer to breach the walls, open up with anything that is throwable, so Ace and Hibana. But the one thing here is that you get flashbangs. And when you're playing against both, a Rooney and a Jaeger, and possibly even a Y, because that Soniqs brought it the last time around, you want as many throwables as possible so that these nades can strike true and get kills, or at the very least do some damage.
The same position, playing to die for Super on the top of East Stairs. There's no angle from the outside balcony that Rampy can really use to his advantage now, as the Surya gate is there, but Bosco will come in to break it. You don't need those X-Kairos. What did you say? Maybe when you were talking before about bringing too much hard breach utility, well, you just use 2 of those X-Kairos pellets to a
spare.
Relatively great success. Super still in this spot, and now it's Rampy's turn to do it. Super gets away, and nobody really seems to be on the hunt, but here's Hot and Cold. Cue the Jaws theme song. Da-na, da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, and Hot and Cold picks up 2 kills just like that. There's blood in the water, and Space Station is happy to sniff it out.
Yep. The thing about Super in that position is, Hansen, such a good shot with the SMG-11 is what we see, but the issue with Super in these, play-to-die spots that he often will fall back and kind of give up the ground and just die, where you kind of need to fight your way out of it. You want to put a player in a position that can fight your way out, get a kill, do some damage, because if you're only going to really waste time, you're not doing the most impactful job possible, and that's kind of the problem here. Rexen falls with Super, and sure, they trade one back from Kansan, but now you're still 1 man down with 1:10 to go, and SSG are once again in the driver's seat for the second half.
Unless it's pre-placed, there's no Nitro Cell for Kansan, which means that Soniqs have no overt denial outside of these 2 Yokai drones, both of which are still up and are positioned in sneaky ways so they can be brought to stop a plant as it goes down. With 50 seconds left and Bosco holding that diffuser, a numbers advantage in favor of Space Station. An objective play for SSG has been good so far. You'd imagine that the goal is to try and get that diffuser planted. Adrenal Surge will bail out both Fultz and Bosco, who were near death in terms of HP. And now Rotero drones will go in to open up the doorway leading into the staff area. Yeti over towards Fountain, that's his position. He needs to watch that A bomb site where you can see one of the players from Space Station is closing in on. And the Finka of Rampy is there too. A nice flick over to the side, sees Yeti. That's a relatively easy kill for Rampy, and Adrenal Surge again will give more life to Space Station as they have the diffuser in hand. A beautiful shot. Rampy has an opportunity to go for more. Diffuser planted by Bosco. And Kansan will need to fight himself out between a rock and a hard place. He's on literally 1 HP. Next to nothing left. A light breeze will take him out. What? Oh my goodness, and Kansan is in much better shape than we thought. But just like that, Rampy ensures that the clock strikes midnight and back to a pumpkin you go. No Cinderella story for Kansan on that round. Space Station will stretch their lead after successful entry and successful execution onto the bomb sites 3-1.
Kansan might not have gotten kills that mattered much in that round, but all 3 of his kills that he got were incredible shots with this SMG-11. All long distance, all basically one-shot headshot, all first bullet headshot as well. And you think to yourself, that's not winnable. But we see Kansan do these things sometimes where you think, how are you doing it? It's the shotgun, it's the SMG11. Like, he is one of the like smoke/mute players that we recognize for their greatness in those clutch moments. Of course, it wasn't enough. It was a nice try. 1-3 now with HSG leading the score, and we're gonna just keep trying to force these bomb sites back and forth as we go. Ventilation. Last time the Soniqs, they came out victorious, but again, it was down to that 1v2 from Grixer. He found the guy with the diffuser, ran away, time ran out. Before that, it was SSG, roam clearing the top area of the map, and they unfortunately team killed a member of the squad, therefore giving Soniqs a way easier time than they normally would. So this time, Soniqs will have to hold on to the top floor for longer or do it more successfully to deny SSG what they want. But look at this lineup. This is the flexibility that we know and love SSG for. Ying, Glass, both playing smokes, only with the Hibana being the hot breach, we could easily see a direct side rush, we could see a top floor rush. They can do anything because nothing on the defensive side besides a single bulletproof camera can really stop them.
And it's both an execute-heavy lineup, but also there's a lot of kill potential there, right?
Absolutely.
And if you look at the kills, that tell a story of its own. Outside of the 3 exit kills that Kansan got on the previous round, it's grim for this SQ squad. They have really struggled to win their engagements. Oh. This might be a quick one for Hot and Cold. He botches what might have been a botch on a smoke. There goes a second. That's a ton of utility burned out for Hotton. And we'll now go on to Drone. Fultz just narrowly missing out on the foot of the Legion of Yeti. First kill goes to Spacestation, though. They will continue this border match that we have seen following the border match that preceded it, which is that the attackers always get this opening pick. Say goodbye to Kansan. The one lucky charm for Soniqs no longer available.
Almost like SSG forced the movement from Soniqs with that fake execute. I mean, they got top floor control for free, they got the opening kill, I'm not sure exactly where, but they forced the defenders to move so much that they've gotten all this ground so quickly. But now, of course, with lack of information, they don't exactly know where the whereabouts are from Soniqs, and therefore they strike back.
First kill for Yeti, but he's taken out by Bosco shortly thereafter. So Bosco, these 2 kills on an operator, that has plenty of kill potential, but isn't often in those situations to do a lot of damage. Rexon's been isolated over on the east stairs. I don't know if somebody from Space Station is watching him or not, but he's far removed from the actual action, unless he decides to get a little bit crafty, and maybe a flank through security and break room could be the play. Another smoke will go out, hide the coverage of Fultz as creeps up onto the ground, and Super could peek this, but he looks the wrong way. An easy pick for Fultz. Down goes Super. A rotate as well, and Fultz doesn't miss those shots. Grixer, no chance whatsoever, so it's all up to Rexon, who will give his position away and get shot through the wall. This is clinical from Space Station. Defender-sided border says, what? 4-1 in favor of Soniqs. They win the first half no matter what happens in round number 6. With that round being so very much in the column of SSG, and a couple of the other rounds being so dominant, no surprise, Soniqs called their timeout.
That they do, and I mean, I love that round from Space Station because it shows creativity, it showed aggression, and most importantly, they mentally and strategically completely outread and outplayed Soniqs, right? Fake execute, where they throw everything from Ying, both smokes, all Candelas, to create a bunch of noise. Soniqs, they try to respond, SSG gets an easy kill. After that, they take Armory completely for free, Office for free, Archives for free, and the only thing they need to clear now is main stairs and east stairs. Then they have one important factor left. They saved one smoke grenade from Glass because they knew the execute would come later, and that final smoke played a massive part because it shrouds the planter who dropped the hatch from anybody inside ventilation, and it gives Glass an almost impossible to lose gunfight scenario, as you can see through that smoke, but they cannot see you. So he found 2 kills, he covered the planter, and SSG has outplanted in 4 out of 5 rounds, and they've gotten the opening kill in all 5. So they are checking every single box right now.
Oh, what a dominant performance. And this looks more like Soniqs from the last stage than the Soniqs that we saw win the NAL and the Soniqs that made a deep run at the 6 Invitational. Again, Berlin is on the line, not just posterity and not just 6 Invitational points, because while all this conversation is going on, by the way, you might not make it to a major, but if you can consistently be 5th in the league, you actually have a pretty good shot of making it to the 6 Invitational next year, just based on how SI points are doled out. But coming into this matchup, we talked about Soniqs were in a spot to qualify for Berlin. Spacestation was not. They were just on the outside looking in. With a performance like this today for Soniqs, they are running up against an SSG that seems almost revitalized, but also is very comfortable on this map. It's no surprise with the fact that SSG have been comfortable enough to go to border and also prevailed 2-0 in both of those matches that we would see this performance from Spacestation. But I will say, that Thursday match, or the Wednesday match last week was against Mirage. SSG had some very obvious struggles against Mirage.
They did.
That you probably shouldn't have with the way Mirage has been playing recently. Spacestation do not seem to be committing those same errors against Soniqs, which is why I think we see it such a lopsided score.
And the thing is, if SSG can like comfortably win border and they're comfortable going here so many times, while they're doing really good on one particular map, they're also hiding a majority of their map pool for future games to come. So once they go up against opponents that might not be as easy or as free or whatever you want to say, they have other things up their sleeve they've been hiding and cooking up, which is further going to increase their advantage in those specific matchups. Whereas if you're a team who plays a new map every single week, you're slowly revealing your card, or quickly actually, revealing your own cards and what you might have up your sleeve instead. Now we see SSG changing the tempo here. They're playing super slow, waiting around, holding angles. False walks in, gets an easy kill once again, opening kill every single round for SSG.
Rexen was the one being hunted down next. There was a call that was made. You could see from the way that Fultz looked over. After the Finca of Rampy was positioned on that armory wall, and Rampy is a pretty good 7-1 with Fultz 7-2. This is the vintage SSG that we're used to seeing, where both of them carry the weight on their team in terms of killing potential. Again, another opening pick, and Spacestation have all 6 first bloods in the first half.
Super is hiding in office, and then SSG does not know his whereabouts. Skies looks to walk in, but XU comes out. Last guy's upstairs at this point.
Not ideal whatsoever for Grixer to fall. You need a strong performance from him. Super danced away from the nade, but not from the LMG. Diffuser going down. Bosco looking for yet another point just to add to this tally. Rexen will retake from above. Kansan has huge clutch potential, and he lines up 2. A third could be found not too far off. Odds still stacked in favor of Spacestation, but there's always magic to be had when Kansan's on the field. To work between the 30 seconds that are left on this clock. Rexen retaking from above. Again, Spacestation need to shut down these 2 players of Soniqs before they can hop on the diffuser. Rexen gives his position away, dropped. Skies catches that one. It's all up to Kansan, and Skies misses out on the opportunity. Kansan picks up a kill, number 3, but Bosco says, that's all you get. Another 3K from Kansan, but impactless kills as the clutch is not enough to stave off defeat. And that's a pretty solid first half. 5-1 for Spacestation.
It's a very, very good first half, and I mean the change of pace from SSG, playing super slow in the first minute and 30 into rushing the bomb site without even droning it fully. Super was hiding inside of office next to all 3 members of SSG, and the other 2 members of Soniqs, they were so far off the bomb site that, as I was saying, it's gonna end up with the last man on defense being, you know, upstairs in the bomb site while SSG are just running around the first floor, and that's exactly what happened, because you just go for it, right? You catch somebody off guard, you have a 5 versus 3, you can brute force the bomb site knowing only 1 or 2 guys are likely gonna be there, and then play your post-plant positions after, which they did. Super, who was hiding inside of office, even came back to the archives hatch, looked down, immediately shut down. Then you're trying to flank through blue. Sure, Kansan gets 2 kills, but after that, shut down as well. So the gaps are really closing for Soniqs right now, and only 1 player seems to be able to find any of those. It's Kansan, 7-6. Then it goes 2-5 as your second highest gunner of Grixer and Finca, 1-6 Yeti, 1-6 Rexen, 1-6 Super. No one's really shooting back right now. That holy trinity, or the 4 people that we normally expect from Soniqs to show up, they're not here right now.
And also worth noting again, 6 of those 7 kills from Kansan came from 2 3Ks in failed clutches.
Exit kill, so is he 1-6 technically speaking?
I mean in terms of kills that truthfully matter in the cut and thrust of a round, I think it's easy to say that he should be effectively 1-6, but or maybe even like 1-4 if we want to be generous and say that those 2 deaths in the clutches were not necessarily his responsibility. But those kills from Grixer and Super and Rexen, they came so early in the match. I feel like Grixer's been sitting on 2 kills since the 2nd round. So the fact that his gun has been quiet for the majority of this matchup is not great.
No, it's not. I mean, gun power is a big part of Border, so if you're having a bad day on the guns inside the server, then you're gonna have a bad time as a team because you need to find these opening kills, and the only way to do that is to fight. You can't really strategically do much on the defensive side if attackers are coming at you. So we're gonna see Hot and Cold continues to swing, peek on this window, and try and get aggressive. This nade could make their lives so much easier, but it gets caught by a magnet instead and rendered useless.
Hot knows that the next one is lined up. It goes over his shoulder. The Yana jumps in. Who prevails? It's Rexen. So the attackers have every opening pick. This time, though, it's Soniqs, the first to find the score sheet. Half of the round used, and again, lots of utility were expended to flush Hot and Cold out of security. It ultimately ends up being successful. But how much time did the Soniqs potentially waste by not being more coordinated on Hot and Cold? That's the question.
Time, of course, still good to go. Got over a minute left for at the attacking side. We got tons of utility being spent for security, but it's gonna be worth it because this is arguably the hardest part right now of getting the entry. You've done just that. Now, put your eyes towards the bomb side. You gotta go either Armory or you gotta go Archives itself. With all the members of Soniqs being inside security, it looks like they're favoring the Armory side of things. And honestly, with Ace being on the board, not a bad choice at all. This one wall is, of course, soft, gives you a bit of line of sight. Speaking of that, Rexen finds one from a long angle from security all the way into Fountain.
He has both kills so far. Sonic sweeping through this SSG defense. Finally, Space Station finds their footing. It's on to Yeti. Toxic Canister goes out. Bosco will need to watch two separate avenues, very similar to what we saw at Kansan when he was in this position for Soniqs on defense. Right now, playing Sandwich. Toxic Canisters to go out. 20 seconds remaining, and still one more Toxic Babe in the pocket of smoke. But an aid will dislodge him from his spot, meaning Skies will have to clutch, and Kansan says, nope. We need this round more than you do. It could have been match point for Space Station, but they're denied that opportunity. They'll need to look for it in another round because Soniqs take their very first attack.
And that's just the story of Armory, I feel like. You know, you can't really hold security that well. It's also why Customs as a bomb site isn't very played, and when it is, it doesn't have a very good defending win rate. Security is the attacker's playground. Sure, the defenders, they start with the control, but they can almost never hold on to it unless you just swing at crazy amounts of kills. And the way Soniqs dealt with this was quite nice. They threw in flashbangs, they cleared out the ADS and the Midas, and they tossed in the grenades, and with the explosion, jumped in the window, took the gunfight with two members, and even if they got traded 1-for-1, getting that ground the way that they did is still worth it for them. After that, I mean, it's just about working the Armory angle. They did that, they walked in, they got, you know, all the kills, didn't even need to start planting at all. And that is the story of Armory Bombsite, which is why we see ventilation and bathroom tellers being played more, or at the very least, being played less, but having more success when they are being played. And because the bombsite changes, so does almost the entire attacking lineup. Nomad getting seen play from Ace to Thermite because there are bigger walls you gotta deal with. Buck because of verticality and projectiles such as flashbangs. So Soniqs are preparing themselves for any scenario here with both the Thermite and the Ace in the board. They can attack from either the East Stair side to Office or the Armory side into Archives. Plenty of options for them to choose between, just a matter of what's free.
Houghton was in a very similar spot in the previous round. This time, well, he's over towards break room instead of being up in security, so he's also got the balcony to play off of. This Oryx pick that we saw in the Dark Zero Astralis match that came before this one emerges yet again. And it's a similar spot to where we see Oryx's play on this map, which is towards the main door, towards the stairs. And if you need to, you can charge through one of the soft walls, you can head into bathroom, you can go wherever you'd like. And it is very telling that Space Station have left all those panels soft from Workshop into bathroom because this is a bathroom teller's defense. You don't need any hard destruction to open that up. Skies looked like he was heading for the hills, but he gets shut down by Rexen on a very good read. Rexen particularly has come online for SQ. They need more of Rexen if Soniqs want to be able to close this gap and prevent Space Station from winning the match. But they need more of Kansan too. He's been the superstar performer, and Rexen and Kansan are both down. Grixer swats away at Fultz as we're back to a 3v3. And it's Yeti to spy one player from Space Station, but be unable to capitalize off of it. Hot and Cold gets away free, scot-free, some would even say. Grixer's second kill comes on to Bosco. Toxic Canister delays Space Station, but Hot and Cold still plunges through it. Takes damage in the process, but no kills to be found. Advantage in favor of Soniqs, and they've got their Finka up as well. Oh, nice shot by Grixer. That's 3 kills to his name, and a 4th is Hot and Cold. And there it is, a quad kill from Grixer, as Soniqs do it slowly, but surely. And that's their second round in a row. That's an attacker-sided border that we're seeing here. only one round for the defenders so far. I think Spacestation understands the trouble. They've called a timeout.
And I mean, you gotta do it sooner rather than later, right? Like now it's 5-3, the score is slowly evening back up, and I do think if you're liking right now watching the boys, you probably see something wrong that you don't normally expect, and that's why you're gonna call this timeout to talk about it right now while you still have time to turn it back around before it gets too late. And essentially, SSG had a good idea there. They used the C4 to mask the sound of Fultz dropping the hatch, and he got one kill, swung for the second outside of the main door, and got shut down, unfortunately. So I would almost say that SSG's trouble right now is not getting two guns in the same direction, but giving the attackers those 1v1s, right? Skies fell first. He was running with his back turned. He died for free. Had he had his gun up, it is still a 1 versus 1 at best for the defenders against a zoom-scoped attacking weapon that does more damage and has about equal fire rate. You need to try and get two guns from the defenders pointing towards one gun from the attackers to try and leverage man advantages or positions on the map, because fighting 1-to-1 will almost always favor the zoom scope attackers on a long range because they do so much damn damage. I mean, the ARX from Rexon on the Iron have 47 damage a pop. That's per bullet. You'll die in 3 shots when you're playing on LAN. You have no time to win when you play MPX Warden inside security. That's been the name of the game so far. Bit of a gun change-up, an operator change-up as well from SSG. Hotnicold not getting the alibi, so the 1.5x gets his shield. Well, Mai has the 1.5x, can also fight back. Fultz, and he's like very recognizable operator of the Maestro, where you get, you know, your Alta, your LMG and defense, you get some solid information to rely upon. Then you got the staples, the mute that gets brought every single round because of wall deny, making the hop breach knife difficult, making the drones difficult, and of course the smoke that can deny you and buy you more time. And let's look at Yeti for a second, who's 1-7. He's playing Blackbeard. Blackbeard, like this is an operator that gets played like never, ever, ever, ever.
Hold on a second, APAC exists.
Sure.
APAC does seem to like Blackbeard a little bit more.
A little bit more.
No utility. None.
No. Not
No
even
utility.
flashbangs. You got claymores, you got your shield. This is so weird to see.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about those kills because over the last 2 rounds, Rexon and Grixer are responsible for 8 of the 10 kills that have been found from Soniqs. So, pretty good spot to be in. 1 kill from Kansan, 1 kill. Oh! 1 kill from Kansan, 1 kill from Super. Down goes Yeti. Blackbeard shield broken, but Diffuser being planted. Can they shut them down in time? Fultz and Skies picked off by Soniqs. Just like that. Diffuser goes down and they get out of there as quickly as they can. So the Blackbeard was but just a bait. Hot and Cold and Rampy so low on HP. The timeout obviously not working as well as it could. Track Stingers to deny Spacestation towards the Diffuser. There's Finka down and out, but the gridlock is there, and that's Kansan to shred through them. Spacestation in trouble, but they've evened the odds. Kansan with the P90 in hand, or rather, that F90 doing tons of damage. It's Rampy to get caught over towards Armory. Oh, just a little bit of damage. That's all it takes. Grixer shuts him down. That was a quick one. Soniqs get cute with it. Sometimes cute works, and that's 3 in a row for Soniqs. They're 1 round away from tying things up.
I know Soniqs and Super, they like their rush plans with like Amaro and Ying and stuff because they did it last week on Bank where they were flying the CEO window up top, just like smoke everything, flash everything, and plant. This round, it was Super who went on sandwich window, tossed out the smoke grenades, tossed out a bunch of candelas, rappelled in, started planting, while one member of Soniqs was on the Armory soft wall breach, covering from that angle. Then the Archives balcony players, they opened up the soft wall as well and covered the opposite angle. So because that Soniqs knew the bomb site was relatively clear and because they had the Ying to buy them time and distraction, they could actually get the bomb down and just play for the post plant. And Yeti was on this Blackbeard halfway across the map who like didn't really do anything, but at the same time, he did so much because he took the attention of multiple members of the opponent and he bought enough time and map presence for Soniqs to get down the plan they wanted. And it's a success. A plant, an opening kill, and 3 rounds in a row. And remember, what happened before that rush plant on the previous round was that SSG took a tactical timeout so they could talk together for about a minute about what to do next. What happens? The next round is over in 45 seconds because you get rushed. That is going to suck because it feels like you took that entire timeout only to get cheesed right after and you get caught off guard. That is not what SSG prepared for. It is not what they talked about at all because you cannot expect these things to happen.
Well, I mean, Blackbeard might not have worked out. It was a fascination for us, but other than that, the actual strategy with Soniqs worked. And look, they seem to be quite quick yet again, 30 seconds in. They want a piece of this bomb site. SSG calls their timeout, but the one thing that we don't often highlight, but do from time to time, not all the time, but sometimes, is that the other team gets to talk.
Yeah.
So Goddess got to speak to her team while there was that timeout, and maybe there was a pocket strat that was called out by Soniqs. Not entirely certain. Either way, Soniqs in commanding spot on this half. Still trailing, but as close to a tie as you're going to get. This is eerily similar to what we saw out of the Astralis Dark Zero game. This is typical border things.
It is.
Waiting to see when a second round will be won by the defense, because it has not been found just yet. Attackers in good spot.
There it is. Kansen gets taken out by Rambi, so SSG finding an opening kill. It's been a while since we had those. In fact, it's the first opening kill we've gotten on their defensive side. It wasn't an immediate trade, at least.
Because it was a trade last round when they killed the Blackbeard.
Yep.
But, I mean, still, I guess they technically get it. Yeti answers back, by the way. No Blackbeard for Yeti. They've got him on a very different weapon. Arguably better than the Scar that we see Blackbeard bring, which is the C70 in the hands of Jackal. Absolutely. If you're worried about Space Station on this workshop defense, roaming a little bit too aggressively, Jackal is just the operator to identify where those roamers are and cause some, what do you want to say? Cause some consternation in the defense.
It's a big word.
SSG are still quite far off site. Diffuser has not been retrieved yet by Soniqs. There we have it. Rexon has picked it up. Very quick to the punch in the previous round to get the objective play down. But Soniqs, after that fast start, have kind of taken their foot off the gas pedal. Maybe I spoke too soon because there's a grenade in hand. And a swinger be swung by Bosco, who now hits the ground. Grixer, hungry for this kill, but needs to be wary of what might come his way. Dances around a Nitro Cell. Nice shot from Bosco. Yet another from Space Station. And the diffuser is being planted by Super. Can they shut him down? That is the question. Down goes Rampy by Rexon. And again, the objective play mighty good. All with the help of a smoke that was tossed on out. What little HP is left of Rexon aligns with Super and they get out of the building while Soniqs will sit and wait for the remaining 30 seconds. If they are successful here in the post plant, they'll be in great shape, but Fultz using the passive of Aruni to great effect. Down goes Yeti. Rexon on a sliver of HP. Super creeping up on Jail. In he goes, but they don't see him. Skies looks the other way. He's right there and he guns him down. You'll have to hop on the diffuser. Rexon on the upside down repel, but Fultz shuts him down. And there's plenty of time for Space Station to get it. Hot and cold happy about that. Match point as the defense finally wins a second round. And SSG are one away from a victory over Soniqs.
What a ridiculous post-plan / retake from both teams. I mean, the fact that two people just walk past each other twice, none of them hear one another, no real fight happens, a backstab occurs instead, and the last member is Rexon rappelling upside down with basically no HP to help him, and SSG, they get that done. I want to say Fultz really did the most work there. He punched open the hatch in security, didn't just drop it, he thought somebody might be downstairs inside of customs, punched the ceiling instead and found the kill, and that right there buys them so much control and also the man advantage. It just snowballed from there, and SSG, I mean, we saw it. They ended up finding every single kill and the defuse at about 10 seconds left, give or take, and that's match point. Now they're really in a position where Soniqs can feel the pressure, and Soniqs keep getting away with these plans, and it's a bit cheesy how they do it, because they'll just kind of do it off pace where it looks like they're not ready for it, then they'll toss out a smoke grenade, which Super has in his own pocket, he just starts planting, the bomb goes down, SSG, they're like, what? What is happening? Meanwhile, the members of Soniqs are just holding on to the map that they care about. You know, the one floor, or the one room rather, above the bomb site, and then you're just covering every single entry point that defenders might try and use. And it's working really, really well for them. It's just that specific post plan that we saw last round, it wasn't super well thought through. The positions weren't fortified, they couldn't help one another, and therefore, ultimately, SSG, they got those 1v1s. Let's see if they can do it again. It's a bathroom defense here in our possible last round. Thorn is being brought to the party with Rambi on 10 kills, wanting to get active on that Uzi gun.
Rampy and Fultz both sitting on 10 kills, mind you.
True.
Hot and Cold not too far behind on 9. This is the type of thing from Space Station that we are used to. Again, I remember fondly the Fultz and Rampy kill everything days, allowing the supporting cast to sit farther back. Bosco, who's been one of the flagging performers for Space Station, He's actually doing mighty fine himself and has had some really crucial plays in the mid-round. On the side of Soniqs, we briefly touched on how Grixer and Rexen had woken up on this half, but the real story has been Kanzan, and there he is to start off this round with a kill on the hot and cold. 1 minute off of the board, and SSG down in numbers. And despite the fact that Hot and Cold has 9 kills, he hasn't been surviving very effectively. 10 deaths to his name, all but 1 round he has failed to see the end of.
No, it's true, and I mean, he just gets very active in the round, and he might get stuff done, but also gets taken out. Now we see Soniqs aggress once again, taking a bit of a time to figure out, is there gonna be somebody from above looking for a flank? Super, he hears it, he reads it, he sees it. The distraction from that impact grenade might cost him.
Oh my, and he's so close to death. That could have been an easy pick for Spacestation. They find one on a Kanzan, well off of our field of view. Fold still playing above.
Looking for something.
Soniqs are looking for something, exactly, and there they are. Guess what? They're in the middle of the bomb site. Does Spacestation know this? Down goes Fultz. Bosco splattered from lobby, up on the rafters, and Soniqs are hitting their marks. Rampy, as you talked about, doing an excellent job with the Uzi, but he misses out on the diffuser being planted. What is it with these teams? That's 8 diffusers planted, and suddenly it's a 2v2 with a retake needing to happen in the next 30 seconds, or Spacestation loses the round out to Soniqs, which is exactly what's happening. Nice!
Super!
Flick from Super! It doesn't look like he was aiming for it, but he gets it either way. Sometimes they just gift you that. Whatever higher power you believe in, they gift you that. Super gets the final 2 kills to close out that round, and we will need all 12 to settle this.
That we will. I mean, Super doing a lot of work so far on the server. I mean, he's finding openings, going in fast, getting down the diffuser pretty much every single round almost at this point. 3 in a row for them. And opening kills, I mean, mostly going in favor of Soniqs. As Kanzan, as we saw in the previous round, finding an early pick onto Hot and Cold really cost them. And SSG, they weren't happy with what happened. They're going to try and go back to the bathroom Taylor's bomb site and thinking that maybe this time, if that early first minute doesn't fall apart, we can get this win. Ramby, one big note went from Thorn, who is still an aggressive operator, but with that information gadgetry with those mines, will instead go on to the Vigil that is much more movable as an operator, right? You can't get droned that well, you can sneak around, you can go for flanks, and you also get those impact grenades that Rampy loves to use dynamically to try and harass his opponents in the server and bully them. But he kind of bullies himself, or gets bullied by Fultz rather. That impact grenade did a bit of damage to Rampy. No healing on their side of the defense, which means that you gotta just deal with this 75 or so HP being the max for Rampy in this round so far. Yeti really doing a good job at flexing, not of course finding the absolute most value right now, but still playing a crucial role for his team. Showing the 0 of all operators. It's like not super common to be played on border. I imagine he's gonna try and get more value by putting down his Argus cameras so that there's information to be had, so that when the first member of Soniqs dies, they can go on those cameras and they can find out where the members of SSG they might be roaming.
I don't say this following sentence very often, but there was a good post on the main Rainbow Six subreddit.
Okay.
Those words do not escape my lips all the time. But I will say that it was talking about how, selfishly, Zero is one of the best solo queue operators. A great gun with a good rate of fire, good damage, reliable recoil. You can bring the hard breach gadget. You've got 4 gadgets yourself of those Argus launchers, those Argus cams, to clear away utility, open things up. And there's a Gon 6 available. Yeah. Zero just doesn't really fit into the meta because lack of explosives outside of that Gon 6. There's usually better options, especially if you're going to go flank watch, which a lot of the times those Argus cams are used for. You're going to bring a Nomad, maybe even a Gridlock, some teams like that. But ultimately, if you're watching this, you should play Zero more often. That's all. That's it.
That's it. Yeti has used 3 of those Argus cams, so information is what he's being used for right now. And like, look at the walls being soft in bathroom. And as Bosco stops this push with Skies above with that vertical play, it looks like Soniqs might just rush in, rather. But Sky shuts down Rexen instead. It's a box. It's a huge kill. It's half the soft destruction. It was the member who's about to blow up on those side walls in just a moment.
Very, very close to getting in, and Rexen, again, has been one of the better performers for Soniqs in the second half. Rough first half, only getting a single kill to his name through the first 6 rounds. Since then, much better. We keep seeing these like sixth senses as to where people are. Super is on drone, and on that cam, he's standing there. Oh, they know that he's in that position. Kanzan throws in a nade, it blows up Rampy. Numbers are back to even, 1 minute to go. Confronting the castle barricade inside a passport is the next step for Soniqs. Then they need to clear out the lobby. There's more reinforcements and castle barricades over there too, and then sitting on the bomb site is Hot and Cold, but he doesn't have the best artillery to deal with any potential foes that come his way. UMP in hand is not exactly ideal. Oh, look at this. Skies could have picked up on two. The Fink is in the middle of the bomb site. Grixer is just in. Do they know this? Swatting away. No, Hot and Cold panics. There's 2 targets and he can't find the right spot. Super attempts the diffuser plant, falls off. Skies to the rescue, but Grixer sees him and shuts him down. 3 kills. It's Fultz to clutch out, but he has no information whatsoever. And peeked from the hatch. Down goes Grixer, but Fultz has more to find. Towards the window where the players from Soniqs have escaped. This might slip through the fingers of SSG. A valiant effort. Hard pressed to imagine Fultz getting out alive. If he walks towards the bomb site, he'll be cut across from the angle on his right towards Passport, and that's exactly what happens. But it's Yeti to secure the final kill, and Soniqs propel us to overtime.
That they do, and I mean, SSG actually were in a great position there, but then they played so passive. Skies never peeked blue once. Members of Soniqs just walked on by, no help from the member on the side, and then they capitalized. They got the side control. They started planting, and sure, you got vertical control up above on Fultz, but he can't do anything with it because the entirety of the side is lost, and it's a retake for him in a 1 versus 4 situation. So while it was a great position, if you don't peek out, if you don't take chances sometimes, well, they can just slip right on in through those gaps and those cracks, and that's exactly what they did. Soniqs once again reading beautifully where and when they can just walk into side, use a smoke grenade and start planting. In those last 4 rounds, between round number 9 and round number 12, they planted every single one of those rounds. That is how much work Super is putting in right now, just to finding those openings, and he's got 4 kills.
I mean, I don't know if you watched his companion stream yesterday to EUL, but if you did, with how thoroughly he torched Prano and G2 for their misgivings with defusing, he would have had to have had a big day today. If Prano was a steak yesterday, he wouldn't just be well done. He would be the ash that fell through the grill itself with how badly Super torched him and the rest of G2.
It was a rough game, to be fair. It was.
Game?
Games. Okay, I'll fine. It's been a rough season for them so far.
Has not been ideal. Do my eyes deceive me, by the way? Have we had 9 diffusers planted of the 12 rounds? Because by my count, that's the number that I'm at.
Yep.
That is remarkable.
Yep. That is a lot of plants.
That 9 plants going down, that is phenomenal stuff. Hasn't all been Super, by the way. I mean, he's gotten 4 for his team, all 4 for his team, but it's spread out as well. Bosco had 5 on his side of things. So yeah, 9 indeed. Excellently done by these 2 players. First casualty is Yeti. He's having a really rough game. A really, really rough game. Sitting at 4-11 on the roaming Mozzie. He's no more. 1 minute in action and he is gone. This is a ventilation workshop defense down below. Soniqs will defend twice if required. Obviously no unlimited overtime. It's a best of 3 rounds when you go to OT here at the NAL.
Yep. So every single round matters oh so much now. I mean, often when you go into OT, you see teams slowing down because the pressure rises up, but it seems like SSG are kind of saying, we're going to keep speeding up and just keep up the momentum here and, you know, make sure Soniqs, they can feel us slowly choking them out. That's what they do. Rexen falls back, gets spotted despite sprinting out, drops the hatch too. Can always go up again, of course, but this is SSG with good map control so far. With 1 minute and 20 to go, they've gotten everything they need to start setting up for the plant. Do the vertical play, drone out the bomb site, and figure out where is a safe position to plant in. This is what Soniqs did so well when they were on the attacking side. Now we're gonna see if SSG can match that kind of vibe and figure out, or rather problem solve the issue at hand.
Oh, shot by Rampy as Super peeks the broken barricade in the lobby.
Oh, it's a
now
clone.
it's Rexen for a potential run out, but the clone of Fultz gives away Rexen's position. They know he's by the main door. Primed and ready. Fultz could have greeted the aggressiveness that we would have seen from the players of Soniqs. Instead, they open up some of the wall, and that should be an Evil Eye taken care of. Rexen does net a kill. It's onto Skies. Not necessarily the intended target, but then from above, Kansan does some damage to Rampy and to Hot and to Boots. Suddenly, Spacestation finds themselves on the wrong side of the equation. Fultz is next to fall. It's Bosco to clutch out. The clutch minister, as we've called him before, but this is a very different map, and this is a very different team than he's used to playing against. They know exactly where he is, and he's got 2 layers to this as well, both the main floor and the top floor. This is tough. It'll be a game of keep away, and he sees the head of Grixer, but far too late. Soniqs move to match point.
I mean, this is just Kenton stealing rounds and taking numbers right now. He should never get away with that flank, let alone get both kills, as Gridlock had to try and flank around. And I mean, with the DMR as well, you gotta be pinpoint accurate. You can just hold down the nift flick and pray for your life. And it was a 5 versus 3 essentially. That got turned around. Kenton found 1, Kenton found 2, leaving Bosco all alone. 7-6 now, as the Soniqs have made what we can call a comeback, because they were off to a poor start, given the attacking favorite circumstance of the border matchup.
If we can't call this a comeback, I have no idea what we can call it. Since the side swap, when Space Station was up 5-1, the Soniqs have only dropped a single round. That's it.
Yep.
And they've done it on both attack and now defense. Keep in mind that Soniqs on defense won a single round. That was on Workshop Ventilation. They dropped it the second time they went there. This time, they go back to that bomb site, and they prevail. So this is clearly a comfortable area for them. Again, that's the bomb site that has the best statistical chance for the defenders to win on border. You can't go back there, though. This is not a defender-sided map. So there is absolutely no reason to believe that Space Station will win this round based on what we've seen so far. But let's say, hypothetically, they do. Now Soniqs need to defend a second time, and they haven't won any other bomb site. That's a daunting task. So a lot of pressure right now on both of these teams. Soniqs are the only team that has a little bit of wiggle room because of the fact that they can't be knocked out if SSG wins this round.
Agreed. Thing to note here is that Super no longer has smoke grenades in his pocket. He has been using those every single round to plant for himself. Rexon on the Twitch is gonna bring those smokes instead, and Yeti being brought onto Ace again to kind of keep him more on the supportive side, just like when he played the Zero. It seems to work better for them because if Yeti hasn't had the greatest time right now, it also enables both Rexon and Super to get more damage done. So swapping around the cards of who gets to have a say in, you know, the map presence and who gets to choose like what utility gets spent, I think it's a wise choice. Enable Kansen, enable Grixer, and then Rexon and Super can play around that with Yeti on full-on support.
Flores is a phenomenal operator to deal with what's being brought from Space Station. I have no doubt this is partially due to the strength of that attacker repick system, because you see the Banshees, you see potential mute jammers, you see the Maestro cams, you see the Alibi clones, and suddenly those Rotero drones from Flores prove invaluable. Rexon gets the very first kill on the hot and cold. 4 kills away from Soniqs picking up a much-needed win in the books. But a Nitro Cell will doom Yeti. Yeti the first one to die for Soniqs on most of these rounds, but still the opening pick goes in favor of SQ.
Yeah, but it also means your only heartbreach is off the board, which ventilation bomb set is not the the end of the world, so to speak, but it's not ideal either. Rampy being injured, of course, favors the attackers, and not sure how he got injured because
I believe that was a nade, by the way. Yeah, that was at least the telltale sound of a nade. No confirm for Kansen, so instead you'll go on to drone work and look for the blood on the ground. There you go. So you know you've got a confirm available. Another nade goes in this time.
Does that even get him?
No, it won't.
He's gonna bleed out. He'll be fine.
Unless somebody from SSG can retrieve him, then numbers will go back in favor of Soniqs. Close enough to the bomb site, but there's a Maestro cam that will thwart their advance. No Rotero drones left for Super. So those drones going elsewhere. Skies will be the first line of defense, but he peeks to Super. Suddenly he and Kansen are in. It's only one more player as Rampy's about to bleed out. Bosco will again be put in a clutch position, but this one's even harder than before. Rampy tried to impact. That's how he downed himself. Unideal. A kill from Bosco. 3 more to be found. Match on the line for Space Station. But Bosco has precious little information. As he peeks, he knows that Super's there. He wins that gun duel, but 2 more to be found, and these will be harder targets. Both Kansen and Rexon. Kansen in particular has been phenomenal for Soniqs. Who will be credited with the final kill on the Bosco, or will he be able to pull this off? 11 seconds remain. That's as much as he can get before the time of no return for the diffuser. He baits out the sledgehammer, and now under fire gets finished off by Kansen from above. 2 separate players from Soniqs, 2 separate assists, but only 1 kill to be found. And just like that, Soniqs trailing but they come alive when it's most needed, and they end up toppling Spacestation 8-6.
In a phenomenal comeback as well. I mean, a couple of rounds were just, I mean, you can say supers, Giga Brain, cheese strats, etc., but the way they played around the plant and the objective of planting itself really worked in their favor, and it matches their playstyle so well on border, and SSG had no real way to answer back either. So they abused that aspect time and time again. It kept on working, and as you said at the very end, with Rambi unfortunately impacting himself down to an injury, that's just really unfortunate.
I think he was trying to get either the hatch or the wall to get out of there. It was a big mistake, and
it happens.
Well, I mean, for Space Station, that is a very similar refrain to what we said during the Dark Zero matchup. It is hard to imagine SSG being able to make it to the Berlin Major, given the fact that there are only 4 play days left. We are starting to see a very close, very competitive North American League split between the haves and the have-nots. I'm sure there's a nice way to say that in German, but I'll save that for when they're in Berlin. Until then, we have a break ready for you. We'll be back in just a couple minutes to dissect what happened between Soniqs and Space Station.
Dude.
Through dripping Aquafina, I'm sipping 15, kept a weapon on me. Flow make digits, I'm on my business, stack chicken like what it's gon' be. Crew in the cut, hey, you want us, red run when I tell a peace. Love is love. Love is love. Adios. Bendo with the switch again. Boy deliver like he heffing. Core with digits, give him estimates. Somersaults for my Benjamins. I got what you need, baby. Skirt the Chevy, make a scene, baby. LABB been the team, baby. Bim Papa, word the G, baby. Look, lab till I'm finished. Had a handful of lemons through the hand. Got a bag, now the hands in the business. For my hand, it's a ticket. Talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I've been playing with the minutes that they been shoulda gave. And I'm flipping every digit that they been shoulda paid. Had to find a way to get it. Know this isn't what you made. If I ever wanna dip, then I'm brink with the blade. And I'm brinking a blink on the brink of some.
Hey, we are back here at the Rainbow Six North America desk. I'm Doa, Jesse, Jacob, Joe, here with you, all the J's. And guess what? Over in Vegas, we got Yeti standing by, one of our players from the winning team, Soniqs. You got it done. You made our hearts pound, though, and your hearts were probably pounding even more. That was a very, very close one. But now the Soniqs are 3 wins in a row here in Stage 2. It's got to be vindicating, right? After a rough Stage 1, to put in the work and now to finally have some results, huh?
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, we knew it'd be like better this stage for sure. I mean, we weren't going to tolerate another stage like stage 1. That was a fluke. But yeah, it feels good. That was a good dub. Definitely put some weight on the team. I was not killing practice. That was fun.
Hey, we all play our parts.
Yeti, I asked your analyst what the worst operator in the game was, and he said Blackbeard to me. Why are you bringing out Blackbeard in this game? So obviously, it was a good strat overall, but that part didn't really work.
So on the rush, I picked it like last second, so I didn't even have like a class set up. So I had a hollow on. I don't even think I had a grip on it. But I usually like pick any op there and just kind of sit on the door to distract for like the rush. And I was like, screw it, I'm gonna go BB. And I met the MX4 Storm. My shield was gone so fast, like it was not the best salute, not the best pick, but you know, a round win's a round win. That's more than my 1 kill, right?
Hey, so Yeti, I know what goes through your mind, but I want to ask this for the audience. But when you're having a game like that, how do you keep your spirits up, and how do you keep providing value to the team?
Oh, I mean, even though like I don't get the kills, like I'm still like the vibes guy. I'm always the vibes guy. My job is to generate energy through the team, and like I'll be 1-11 and I'll be talking my smack. Like I'll be standing up, making choking faces and all types of stuff. Like, yeah, that's one thing I do. I definitely like try to help like shot call and stuff and like generate ideas. And I still try to just like run at people. Like my job on defense is to disrupt whatever they're trying to do on attack. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But you know, like I said, at the end of the day, it's like I'm doing something right if we're winning the game.
No, that still feels like the single biggest thing I've noticed about you guys from stages 1 to 2. You're up and you're talking, which that didn't happen at all a couple of months ago. And it feels like that's something that a few of the other guys are also starting to get back into a rhythm of doing as well. Is that as important as we're saying it is, or is that just kind of a thing that led itself from stages 1 into 2? It's just like a sign of a better mood overall. How is it for you guys right now?
Well, I think after Invite, I think subconsciously we almost came into stage 1 expecting to just kind of perform a little bit, because last year the NAL was very top heavy, 4 or 5 teams always competing, not all 9 or 10. So I think when we started losing, we were trying to problem solve, and we were more focused on the problem solving than just having fun and playing the game. Because at the end of the day, it's just a game, and if you're not having fun and you're playing against a team that is having fun, you're probably going to lose to the team that's having fun 9 out of 10 times. So I think we just kind of like lost our identity a little bit, and call it our mojo, if you will. I just don't think we were playing the Soniqs way of Siege. I think we just kind of fell off and stopped focusing on team plays and stopped focusing on like the teamwork dynamic of the game, and was just showing up expecting the win. And we got smacked in the face really hard, really hard. And we had 2 months of watching the major with tears in our eyes, and really not good thoughts going through our heads. And here we are. Now we're doing better.
Yeah, so on that note, again, the trajectory is looking good at the moment to head towards another major after having to sit the last one out in Charlotte. What would getting to Berlin mean to you?
I want to play with fans, man. I haven't played an event with fans since like, my God, I think it was 2018. That would just be an honor. No matter where they're from, where we're going, like that would just be so cool. I think all the guys would definitely echo that we want to play with fans. We were really upset that we missed the NA crowd. Being us, I think the NA fans would have loved us.
Oh yeah.
So that just really sucked. It means everything. Like that is definitely like, there's a big number 1. And the Berlin major's right after that number 1. That's 100% the goal right now.
Man, I hear you. Esports is 90% less fun without the fans there. That's for sure. But you got the win today.
I love flying to Sweden to sit in a room.
Yeah, there you go. Well, think about it. Well, there you go. You got the win today. Congratulations. Good luck in your game tomorrow, and good luck with continuing that run towards the major.
Thank you, Doa. Thank you, Doa. Joe, I love and miss you. Take care, buddy.
I miss you too.
All right. Well, thank you.
He didn't
Yeti.
say he misses me. How am I supposed to feel about that?
I'm not on the team.
Yeah, come on, man.
He's still my homie, dude. Come on.
There you go, 8-6 victory for Soniqs. They get it done in OT. Like, we were back there watching this one for a while, Joe, and you were looking a little bit grim for a bit there. It was looking rough.
I was like pulling my collar. I was just like sweating. I was just like, we always make these games interesting, but I was telling Jesse too as well. Like, no team in the NAL has lost 5 rounds in their starting half, and then been able to come back and win the game on this map. So that was huge, not only to see that we were able to do that, but to echo the same result that SSG had, tie it up and win it in overtime.
Yeah, they lost 5 rounds in the first half, and Joe turns to me. He's like, "That means we lost." And he like shows me the stats. He's like, "It's over now."
The numbers guy was very forlorn. Yeah.
It didn't happen though.
Oh, thank God. Numbers only tell half the story. So
I would say Yeti 4-12 doesn't mean that much. If he's still being disruptive, hey, it helped. Even if it didn't help by that much, they still won in overtime. So they got it done. It was sloppy, but they got it done.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's take a look at some of those rounds. In particular, round number 5 is the first one we're going to look at, and this was a brighter moment for Space Station Gaming because obviously they lost it in overtime. It was still a close match at the end of the day.
It was, and this is one of those rounds that Space Station, brought out their creative strategies, and they run these a lot. But what I was concerned about this time was we've seen this exact same play before from Space Station. They played this against Beast Coast, and with the smokes in the middle of the doorway, the fact that they've already killed a Ying, Soniqs should know this is coming. Yet still 2 players, one not that soon after the other, run through the smoke and fall to the glass of Faults. And sure, it's a great play from Faults, but I really wish Soniqs would have been able to identify that was happening, especially after the first player already died. I think that it's pretty clear that something was not going right inside the team there.
And to look at it, like there was a gap in the smoke too. So Super's actually peeking that to try and find the glass and just doesn't give it enough of the edge. So if he would have wide peeked it maybe a little bit more, still looking for the glass, maybe he gets that kill. Maybe they get the retake, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, next round we're going to look at, this was a brighter moment for the Sonic side of things, and we've got a telestration for it from Jacobs. Why don't you go ahead and head over there and tell us, was it with you?
No, I got this. You want to talk about that Blackbeard round? Why don't we talk about that Blackbeard round real fast?
I want to hear about it.
I mean, it didn't play that much of an impact, obviously. We wanted it to do something a little bit extra in this game. Ultimately, Yeti just picks it, and he dies kind of off screen from everything else, which is a pain. You want to see an up. It doesn't get played very much. Get more use. But once the round pops up, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Because it's a really interesting Ying execute from the Soniqs, which on paper doesn't even really seem like it's all that complicated. But all you really have to watch out for is what happens up here in Sandwich. Because Super is up here, he's playing Ying, and look at how many Candelas he has once he gets off drone. As soon as we play this one out a little bit longer, he's going to whip all 3 of his Candelas into Sandwich. And because there's nobody there, look at how many different people could very well be here to stop him, but there's essentially nobody. You've got one player who's sitting over here, one who has a cross, but he's looking down into this direction. He's nowhere close to the actual Samus position. So all Super has to do is whip the Candelas in. You already see those going down. Smoke will start, and then the Candelas will begin. And as soon as he jumps in, watch how everyone from Space Station starts to reposition. You've already got one guy who's on the shield back here. He'll come back onto site. You've got the Maestro of Faults. He'll sit here for a second, but you still won't be able to stop it. And cross map, way back down here, closer to break room door, is where Hot and Cold is going to swing back and find Yeti, who's playing that Blackbeard, who can't do anything as this round gets going. But he doesn't have to, because all he's doing is playing distraction. So in the midst of the smoke, not only is there an excellent cross, as like from back here, Maestro dies in this section. He's over here after making the swing back from small office, and Grixer has a cross from all the way to catch him before he can do anything about it. And suddenly, Diffuser is down. You've only got 3 defenders left, 2 of which are on ridiculously low HP already. And all Super has to do is sit back on the diffuser, not do squat, at least for the next couple of seconds, and this is a perfectly executed round from the Soniqs. It's just a matter of timing. Drones were in to make sure that there was nobody actually on site to stop them. Got diffuser down without any contention or somebody maybe sitting downstairs with a nitro cell. There was no additional area denial actually in position. And for the Soniqs, it felt like this was one of a couple of times where they had a super sneaky plant that got off and no one was around to stop it. They had their timing correct. They knew exactly when to push to site. And this one just looked good all around. Obviously, we wanted Blackbeard to do a little bit more, but still, I thought it was a pretty good round for Soniqs.
Yeah,
it's called distraction.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah,
and one of the things, too, I loved about that is the gridlock placement, because we saw, like, once Soniqs had the bomb down, they have their line in between the archives and the armory site. So they just double down on that, and they say, we know that there's a couple of operators who are low on health. So let's gridlock this path off. Now they have to push through this, and they're going to take damage, or they have to choose to swing and take damage from us watching the window. So I felt that limited them so much just from one simple piece of utility, and they won the round.
There you go. Yeah. That did it, and that got Soniqs a win. It was still an overtime win, so obviously still some points to work on for Soniqs as they look ahead. They're still a long way from that Berlin major, but this is definitely a step in the right direction. Meanwhile, for Spacestation, back to the drawing board for them. Still trying to figure out a way to iron out some of the wrinkles that's keeping them from getting the W's so far here in stage number 2. Speaking of a team still looking for that W, Mirage is going to play against Oxygen next in our final map of the day. We'll see if they can finally do it, or will Oxygen get a much needed win after a couple overtime wins themselves to cement themselves as one of the top, if not middle teams in the league. Don't go anywhere. The final game of the day here on the Rainbow Six NAL returns in just a moment.